Hey folks, Poce here, welcome back to another Genshin Impact video, and today I just want to do a quick video appreciating, I guess, the new Vibro Crystal event, which, by the way, when I first heard of the name, I thought it was going to be, like, some sort of, like, ore mining event, crystal mining event, but apparently no, it's a combat event, which we generally do have, I feel like, almost every update, right? We sort of had a kind of combat event, along with all the other, I guess, more leisure events, right? Which are, you know, there's some really great ones as well, obviously. Everyone loves Wind Trace, I love Wind Trace. I'm a huge fan of the Theatrical Mechanicus, whatever, I can't pronounce that thing, ESL, sadly. Although I do have to say, I didn't like the latest iteration. This latest iteration is probably my least favorite version of the event, but you know, those are fun too. Again, a lot of non-combat events can be really, really nice. I love the bartending event, by the way, right? A lot of character interactions, those are cool too. But just talking, you know, about this event, it's sort of in the same vein as a lot of those sort of combat events, right? And I don't know, I've just been enjoying it a lot so far, right? You just go in, beat up opponents, you get a certain amount of scores for beating up certain opponents, right? They give you different scores for each enemy that you beat up, and with those scores you get, well, rewards, right? Basic one, obviously, if you could get 500, then you get all the Primo Gem rewards. That's good enough. Do a bit better, you get a bit more other stuff, right? And then, you know, 2,000 gets you all the rewards, but if you also do want to, you know, go to 5k points like me, which is totally unnecessary, but you get a bit of a platinum badge. Again, it doesn't really mean anything. It's just, it's fun. It's a fun event, right? I just really like, with a lot of these stages, just testing out different team comps, combinations, right? Rotations, all that stuff. Weapons, synergies. I just find it really, really fun. And I was thinking about it, and I feel like it does have a lot of elements that make this a lot more fun than some other combat stuff, like, for example, the Spiral Abyss, right? Spiral Abyss, obviously there's completely different things between them in the nature of these two things. For example, well, Spiral Abyss, for one, it's a permanent thing, right? It's always here. It resets, you know, there's a periodic reset, and it's an eternal just part of the game. Well, stuff like this is just events. They come and go, right? Again, combat events, they do seem like we almost get one every update. For example, again, like the last update, we had the Hyaku Niniki thing, right? Which is something similar. So you can't really compare, like, a lot of those certain aspects, but in terms of some aspects of these, and you know, just in terms of why I feel like this just feels more fun, right? In my personal opinion, if you like Spiral Abyss better, then, you know, good for you, right? But just in my personal opinion, first of all, it's just the amount of opponents, right? There's a lot of opponents. There's just a lot of opponents, right? You cut them down, a bunch more spawn. It's just a very high spawn rate, if that makes any sense, right? Sort of event in terms of when talking about opponents. There's a lot of them. They're all really squishy, right? So it just feels like, it's like you're playing like a Muso game, right? You're playing like, you know, Dynasty, where you're just cutting people down. It just feels good. I just like watching these, you know, mowing these opponents down. I mean, sorry, you know, no offense to any of these Hello Trolls, but, like, it's cool watching you just, like, cut through everything immediately, and it seems like a lot of this is more based on, well, how fast can your characters attack, in comparison to a lot of Spiral Abyss stages, where it's more, you know, a lot of the opponents are turtles. A lot of the opponents are just turtles, right? They're big, meaty, you know, sparsely placed. Everyone has like a billion HP, and they're all just big DPS checks, right? How much damage can you do to take out these opponents? And this just seems a bit different, right? This just seems like a lot of them, you know, I'm not saying there aren't any, like, look at these. Some of these opponents do have a lot of HP, but it's different. Like, even though they do have a lot of HP, it's just not as much as, like, some of those, like, Spiral Abyss. Obviously, Spiral Abyss changes from time to time, right? And a lot of them are just shields. Like, a lot of shielded opponents, I guess, does increase, you know, some of that feelings of, well, it just takes so long to take them down. But that's what a lot of those are. A lot of them are just big turtle meat shields that just takes a lot of time to take out, in comparison to a lot of these opponents where you just mow them down and it just feels good. It's just a feel good thing, right? It feels nice blasting these guys, running, you know, all your units to, you know, maximum. Stuff like movement, attack speed, all that stuff do count a lot more in these in comparison, and it's just cool, right? Again, there are certain stages. I'm not saying Spiral Abyss doesn't have these type of stages. Sometimes they do, right? For example, this Abyss update, there are a lot of there's a few, well, I wouldn't say a lot. There's a few stages that have enemies where they, you know, it's just a group of enemies, none of them incredibly tanky wise, but you know, those are not very often. Oftentimes a lot, especially, you know, stuff like 4, there's, you know, 11, 12, it's just like one big boss there waiting for you to cut down. And I just, again, just in my opinion, I don't think it's as fun. Like, look at all these numbers, look at all these numbers being stupid. I like seeing big numbers. I like seeing multiple numbers, right? I like seeing numbers being big. That sounds slightly weird, but you know. I just like seeing big numbers. Maybe I'm biased because I do use, you know, a lot of AoE characters, like something like a Venti. Like, you know, I don't know, like Raiden to an extent, or Xiangling, I guess more so than Raiden, right? But that's part of the charm for this event. And then the other thing about this event, right? If you compare it to like Spiral Abyss, the success is more so based on, well, how fast can you clear this? And I guess in principle, eventually it's still the same thing. The faster you clear these, obviously the better you get. But instead of time based, like a countdown based, which does make you panic a bit more, this is more so score based. And again, theoretically it's still, you know, if clear faster it's better, right? But with score based things, I just find it a bit more fun trying to hit that score, right? Rather than, you know, taking all of them out, because of the fact that there's also unlimited enemies. Because like in Spiral Abyss, it's that amount of enemies, you clear them, you pass, and this is, it gives you unlimited enemies. Obviously there's still there's a timer at the top of the screen. There's still a timer, right? But the enemies are theoretically unlimited, and it's just how many can you cut down before the time expires, right? And different enemies, again, give you different scores, so there's a lot of really fun stuff to be found there as well. I guess it also helps that there just aren't as many, you know, stages. Like the pacing wise is a bit better, right? Because in comparison, Spiral Abyss is every reset, boom, you have to blow through another grueling 12 stages, right? Well, I guess the first half of the stage is probably not as bad for most people, right? But still, like, it just takes a while, and it gets a bit grueling, right? And in certain, you know, Abyss, especially in later stages in 12, if you screw up, right? For example, if you screwed up like Chamber 3, right, in Abyss 12, then you have to, well, start all the way over. In terms of, you know, if you notice like an issue with your team comp, right? Not in terms of like if you play wrong, obviously you could just restart that last chamber. But it's just, I guess, a lot of like QL like designs for these just feel a bit better as well, right? To be fair, being an event, it has the advantage of only releasing one stage per day, right? So it doesn't feel as, I guess, laboring to fight. Another upside is it does have trial characters, right? And, you know, these trial characters aren't like the best built, but, you know, some of them can be really fun. For example, you know, if you don't have Yoimiya, I don't have Yoimiya, right? It gives you a chance to try it out within an event as well. It's not like just the it's different from these test runs, all right? These test runs, you know, they exist too, but let's be real, they're relatively uninteresting in terms of trying out a character, right? Where these have a bit more, I guess, realistic situations that they put these characters in, and they could obviously excel. And, you know, in comparison to Spiral Abyss, I don't think they could really give you, I mean, I think they can give you trial characters for the Abyss, but like maybe not like for that many trial characters. Maybe they'll, you know, I guess I could see them putting like 1 or 2 trial characters every Abyss, but that's the point of Spiral Abyss Mostly, let's be real, is for them to sell you more characters, because every single Spiral Abyss that comes out is weak to a certain character. Most of the time, it's weak to the certain character that is up, that has a banner up at the moment in the game. So it's a way of encouraging people to pull for characters, obviously spend money, etc., etc., right? Which is, I mean, fine. They gotta find some way of making money, but like, also to be fair, without Spiral Abyss, this game still makes tons of money. So. Also, I do find the buffs that they have with the harmonics relatively interesting, right? For example, like this one, the elemental damage bonus, it's just much more fun, right? The different stacks of elemental bonus, just more fun than like this buff that Spiral Abyss gives you. But though, to be fair to Spiral Abyss, the Spiral Abyss buffs are more universal generally, because like a lot of these are not universal at all, right? Like, I mean, this is gonna do nothing if you're trying to, if your main damager is like Eula, for example, right? And you're trying to get some physical damage off, then, well, this is an L, right? And some of these aren't, you know, set up, again, not very universal. For example, I think the third stage, right? Some of these trigger conditions, right? Electro charge overload, or after a character deals electro damage. Obviously, not everyone's going to bring Electro characters. Maybe everyone's Electro character roster isn't as good, and, you know, sometimes it just limits you, maybe forces you a bit to try to incorporate an Electro character in the stage. I'm not a huge fan of stages that try too much to make you use one unit or another. Obviously, their stages have to make you, you know, they can't make stages that are clearable by every single character in the game with flying colors, but, you know, it's just another downside, I guess, to this. And look, again, it's not like, you know, a lot of these other upsides, like, for example, like, you know, a lot of small enemies, but like plentiful, easy to take out. It's not like it's fair to all characters, right? It's obviously going to be more beneficial for a lot of like AoE characters, or units capable of doing more, I guess, AoE damage, such as like someone like an Ayato, right, a Xiaoning, etc. And not so much for someone like maybe like a Eula, right? Although Eula can do some AoE damage, right? Or you know, someone like Ningguang, maybe, right? Although I've got 5k points with Ningguang before, right? I think it was this stage, right? But still, right? It's not as friendly to certain characters, certain stages, and that's where, I guess, again, the upsides, downsides in terms of Spiral Abyss versus this event. Spiral Abyss does a lot of times, not every time, right? For example, this Abyss, a lot of times you do have a lot of just like single target, you know, weak bosses. But on the other hand, in my opinion, I don't find those really interesting. Even if they are, you know, good for my single target characters, it just feels like too much of just a DPS check, right? Which I don't find incredibly interesting in comparison to this. Obviously, it could be the fact that we haven't, you know, played this event as much, right? As obviously Spiral Abyss being always there. People have analyzed the Spiral Abyss meta much more than the Vibro Crystal Research Event meta, right? I'm sure. But maybe if folks, you know, focused more time analyzing this, maybe there will be incredibly, you know, meta comps that, you know, make some characters much better than others, etc. But, you know, that's with every combat event, right? You know, that's just how they are, right? So anyways, that's really this one, I guess. I hope y'all enjoyed it. Just a bit of a, again, just a bit of appreciation video for this event. I really do like how they designed this one. I think it's fun. Big fan personally. And again, I'm not saying, hey, replace the Spiral Abyss with this, but I'm just saying, you know, events like these once in a while, or if they could do this a bit more often, I would be very happy personally. So anyways, again, that's been this one. Hope you all enjoyed it. Let me guys think in the comments down below. Like if you enjoyed this video, subscribe to the channel for some more Genshin Impact content. Again, if you guys don't like it, that's fine as well. You can let me know in the comments down below also, and I'll see you guys in the next one then.